Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I'm Ashley Sledge,
And I'm Ken Sledge.
and let's defend horror.
Now today, guys, we are joined by the amazing Chappie. Chappie, how you doing
hmm
today, man?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks for having me on. I'm very pleased to be on here tonight,
No,
today.
Absolutely.
we're excited to have you. You hit us up and you were like, "Hey, I saw you guys haven't defended this movie. We would like the chance to defend it." So before
hmm
we do that, though, can you tell a little bit about yourself so that way people can get to know you a little bit?
Well, my name is Antonio, and but my most of my friends they call me Tony, and I started this Instagram account where I do a lot of movie reviews, and I mostly review movies that I review. Some of them are kind of like unpopular, like some of them are movies that people consider quote unquote bad, but I think they're good. So that's why I give my little own spin about it. I mostly review all certain types of films, but yeah, so that's kind of where I started on my Instagram account. I've considered doing videos in the future, but not really right now though. But from where I am right now, where I'm doing my reviews, I have a couple ones that I've written already, but for right now, I'm very happy with where I'm at right now.
Awesome.
That's all that's important.
Mm-hmm.
How happy you are. You never want to
Absolutely.
do anything that you're not happy doing because life is way too short to be unhappy.
Yep.
So,
And only do it until you're happy.
right,
Not
right.
when,
When you're
not
not happy anymore, that's when it's time to stop doing it.
absolutely.
So, you talked a little bit about your Instagram, and we do have his Instagram down in the description, guys. So make sure you're following him on Instagram so you could check out some of the amazing things that he's doing over there as well.
Yeah. So, Chevy, do you want to tell everybody what movie we are defending today?
Oh yes, we are defending the Thing prequel, not a remake, but it's actually the prequel to the John Carpenter's film, which as you can see in my background, I actually have a poster of the original right here. But yeah, no, and I kind of want to ask you before we start, what was your first introduction to this movie? Like when did you first like find out about it? Like what was your overall like experience when you first saw it?
We saw it opening night,
hmm
and we weren't happy. The movie's fine. I actually think I would actually say it's a good movie, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. But it really lacks in the places. And just this is just my opinion.
Yeah,
It lacks in the places where John Carpenter's The Thing excelled. I think that the CGI in this is awful, and I've heard that
yeah,
they filmed it all
Well, why
practically.
don't I just get
Yeah,
in?
yeah, we'll get it.
What?
We'll talk about that in a second. But
yeah. We'll talk about that later
let's
on. Yeah.
first we'll talk about the Rotten Tomato scores because this does have a tomato meter of 34%, and it does have an audience score of 48%. So it's
Which is
pretty not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
no, especially with the audience.
Mhm.
Some of the major criticisms I read online were horrible CGI, mediocre acting, no originality, literally named the thing,
Mhm.
poor visual effects that aren't creepy. Typical monster movie, you get no suspense like the OG. The monster could be any one of us. It didn't explain or improve the OG, and the pacing is all over the place. The first half is too quick, and then the second half goes too slow. So those were the major ones that I had read.
And the only thing I want to add to that, because like I said, I've heard they filmed this practically, and then the studio was like, "No, we're going to do the CGI." So there is a practical cut of this out there somewhere. And guys, if you're watching,
Well, should we dive right into that right now or no?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no. So what happened was, yeah, no, they filmed it all practical effects because the director Mahias and the writer Eric Heisner and the two producers, they knew that would be a very important part of the original movie is the practical effects. So what
Mhm.
they did was, yeah, so they pretty much filmed it all in practical effects. But what happened was, when they tested the movie, like some exec or some studio heads, like some studio head said that like it looks too much like an 80s movie or like I don't know, it kind of dated or some stupid reason. So they pretty much what they did was they pushed the movie back and they pretty much like CGI'd like all top of it
Mhm.
was almost like unrecognizable.
Yeah,
So
a lot of it
yeah,
looks really bad. There's
yeah.
some
yeah.
things that I think they left in that looked pretty practical, like when they first cut him open.
Mhm.
But yeah, it would have made sense because it is a prequel, so you
You
would
want
want
it
it
to
to
look.
But
look.
also it's weird though, because when you say it looks too much like an 80s movie, it's like, yeah, but this movie takes place in the 80s. That's kind
Right.
of the point of the original movie.
Absolutely.
So I don't quite get that
Right.
mindset, but I don't know.
Yeah.
The other thing that really kind of for me,
Mm-hmm.
I think John Carpenter's The Thing has one of the best scores of all time.
Well,
So I feel like
Yeah.
this
you
one,
got John Carpenter.
right?
He's
I feel like
he's
this
like
one
the
really
goat
lacks.
of scores.
Right,
So.
but I feel like for me this one really lacked in the score department as well, because the
Mhm.
two things I went into this looking for were practical effects and the score. So I was let down. But you go back and rewatch this movie. We just rewatched it, getting ready for this. And
Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't know why I hated this movie. I get why I don't really like it that much. I think but the story's good.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
weird for me that the kid from Dumb and Dumber is one of the main characters.
Yeah.
That's
I
still
think that
weird.
I think it's the
That's
kid that plays Haley. Yeah, Haley
Yeah.
from yeah.
yeah, so that's a little weird for me,
I
but
I really liked Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
yeah,
Like I thought her acting was great.
yeah,
So
there are positives. But
yeah.
Chappie, why does this movie mean so much to you?
I just think that while I don't think it's one of the best prequels ever made, I wouldn't go as far as one of the best prequels ever made, but I do think it's a very solid companion piece, and even like a prequel to the original. Like I said, it lands the gaps very well, nicely. Like you get certain stuff answered. Like even though that's one criticism, I know you just said that I don't know if I agree with because I think it answers a lot of stuff from the original. Like you get
Yeah.
a lot of explaining, not really explaining, but like a lot of like behind the stuff, like what happened on like like the U.S. camp, like when McCready and like all the other people and they put discovered it, like when you see like the dead bodies or like the dude's sliced neck open and the little creature, you wonder like as a viewer, you are like, oh no, like what happened here? Like what happened? Like what went wrong over here? Then now this movie kind of gives you that but it gives you like in a very interesting and I don't want to say unique, but in a very good way, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah. I felt
Mhm.
like it didn't disrespect the original.
No.
Like it wasn't
And I think like
pointless.
again, like I don't mean to cut you off, but I think like again, like if you cut out the CGI of it, it's a perfect companion piece to the original. Like I think it honors a lot of stuff in the original Carpenter film. It's just again that one CGI aspect of it is kind of
Yeah.
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 Well, if I remember correctly, they didn't market this as a prequel.
No, it was like a surprise.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
surprise prequel.
It wasn't
Yeah, and I think that was
it was
kind of
the
what
twist of it.
Yeah, that was like the
Yeah.
twist
and I
that
think that was what hurt the movie more from doing well at the box office because I
Yeah.
one of the things why I think this movie didn't do really well was I don't think number one, I don't think it was marketed very well because when you just title something The Thing, automatically
Right.
people get confused. Like they don't like they think they're like, hold on, it is a remake or a sequel?
Right.
Like they don't know like what it is, you know? So like, and I think originally they had another title in mind, like they were gonna originally call it like The Thing Begins or like
Mm,
it comes out like something kind of stupid. So that's why they kind of went with The Thing 2011, even though that made it more confusing. So yeah,
well, I
I
mean,
don't
that's
think
what
that.
now that's what everybody does. We got Halloween 2018, we got Scream 20,
yeah.
uh,
But those are kind of like retellings, whereas this one, like,
well, those are requels,
yeah,
but this is still it's a prequel.
yeah,
So I mean, like, I get both sides of the argument because now everybody's doing it. They didn't do it then. Texas Chainsaw Massacre just did it.
that's true.
So I mean, like the thing 2011 kind of kicked that off
Hmm.
into doing that without the it being a hard remake.
Yeah.
But
So
Well, even
so
I
some
was kind of confused with it. Even I didn't. Even I thought this was a prequel when I first saw it. I didn't know it was a prequel until when I looked on online. I found out like, oh, hold on, this is a prequel. And I'm like, I thought this was
yeah,
a remake. So
right,
yeah, so
yeah,
that kind of.
I think that was a lot of confusion for a lot of people.
sure.
So what are some of your favorite moments from this movie?
Favorite moments is that's a hard one. There's a lot of good moments, but oh, one in particular is the ending sequence of it, where it directly ties directly to the original Carpenter film, and I just
Hmm.
thought that was just such a brilliant way to end it right here. Like it's
Yeah.
perfectly well edited, where it gets to like the credits and like you hear like that beautiful Elmo County score and at the end, and when you see the dude is shooting at the dog, and then you realize where that actually came from, instead of
Hmm.
like in the original Carpenter film, it just starts with the guy shooting at the dog for no reason. Like you wonder like what's that about? And
Right.
then this movie actually gives you that in a very brilliant way. So I thought that was a very brilliant way, very great way to end the film. I thought.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, another one is well, I love the fact that it kind of does its own thing. Like, yeah, there's some similarities to the original, but like it does add some really new elements to it. Like again, instead of the blood test scene, you have the mouth test scene where she looks in the mouth like
Yeah.
everyone else like to see if they're fingernail. Like I thought that was again, so like not copying the original, but you're doing something new and unique, which
Yeah.
I appreciate that a lot about it. So
Yeah, that was really smart. Like they can't copy
No.
yeah, like things that aren't human. So I thought that was a smart way.
I love the part when he's like,
So I'm gonna get killed because I floss.
Nobody's getting killed.
I thought that was a really good line right there. Like, I don't have feelings.
Like I don't have it. Yeah, because I wouldn't
because I floss.
that they wouldn't I mean earrings, anything like that. That's how you would have to figure it out. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Another great moment, but there are a lot of really nice kills in this movie. So, what would you
yeah.
say the kill was that stuck with you the most, or your favorite kill?
Yeah, no, the gore here is I mean, I like the gore in here, even though, yeah, it is kind of CGI, but again, as a gore hound, I can kind of forgive it a little bit. But one kill that I love is the one where you see the female thing actually split in half, and as she's like running across, she kills that one guy with like that weird like tentacle like thing that she has on her little body. I thought that was a really nice kill. Then as she's like dying, she's like eating up the dude with like her guts. Like I thought, like, again, that's probably out of all the kills, I thought that was a really unique kill that I like the most.
Yeah. Nice.
And again, I think that one was on the poster at one point, even, or
Mhm.
some type of promotion. You had the female thing of it
Yeah.
that was on there. So I know that was one of the things that kind of threw
Well,
me.
and there was another kill that I kind of liked, though, even though, again, this is where you get to the negative. It is very CGI heavy, where you have, again, what could be a great kill, though, but again, like when the dude's in the helicopter, when his face is about to split open, what could be a very unique kill, again, that's where you can kind of tell, like, yeah, that's a bit, it's
Mhm.
very CGI heavy right there, for that one kind of
Absolutely.
sticks out.
Okay, so I know we're here defending this, but this movie obviously isn't perfect. So what would you say is your biggest criticism of this film?
Well, biggest criticism though is I will say all we see is definitely the and while I don't, yeah, it's definitely the CGI, of course, but like
Mhm.
while all we see, I don't think the CGI is as terrible as some make it out to be, but I don't think it's great either. Like there are times, like especially in the beginning, like I said, like there are times where you see the CGI where it's okay, like it actually looks like servable enough. But then there's other times, like I said, like in the helicopter sequence, or like when when the dude's hands come off, or you could just tell, like, yeah, it's very CGI heavy, and it doesn't hold up, and especially when you and like I said, some of those transformations are good. Like I like some of those transformations a lot, though. But when you compare it to what Robo T did with all those outstanding practical effects, and the reason why that movie holds up well, way it did, is because of practical effects. Because those effects are outstanding. Like they still to this day hold up extremely well. And then, but when you do like CGI for, especially when you go on like a watch timeline and when you don't have enough time to finish all the effects, it just makes it look dated, and it just doesn't compare to what Wobble Team did. So that's kind of my big takeaway from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So would you say that the OG thing from 1982 is your favorite, or this I guess prequel from 2011?
Um, no, I mean the original is still a classic. I mean, I have that right there on my wall right here. I mean, it's masterpiece. It's my favorite horror film of all time, and it's still is like one of the I consider to be one of the greatest movies ever
Yeah.
made. So yeah.
I
But this one's good. This one's
Right.
a very good companion piece to it. Again, you take out CGI, it
Yeah.
fits perfectly in the realm of the Carpenter film, I think.
Mhm.
But yeah, I know the original is the go-to. It's fine. The original's better, so
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that you like it because a lot of people that are in love with the OG don't like this one because they're like it's not John Carpenter's the thing.
Mhm.
So they like a lot of people don't give it the chance.
And like I said, I'm glad we went back and rewatched it. I didn't dislike it as much as I remember.
No.
I actually had a lot of fun with the story. Once you take the CGI out, I think that's really the biggest issue for me is the CGI
Yeah.
stuff.
Hmm.
Like I said, the score is good though. Like again, like there's nail biting tension to it. Like again, like you have the same suspense as you do with the Carpenter film. And like I said, you have good, like not like any like big A-listers, but you do have like a lot of really good actors. Like Mary Elizabeth Winston's great in it. Joe Edgerton is good in it as well. You have the other dude who played the Sanders scientist. He was really good in it, and you kind of get where like all these people are coming from when you first see them. Like, yeah, there's not a lot of character development, but neither did the original. Like the original didn't have any like character development because remember the original just started off with you seeing a dog and with them on the US campus. Like you didn't know anyone's backstory, like anybody like anybody like there until you after the movie went along, you started getting to know a little bit more about these characters. So that's why I think it fits very well.
Yeah.
But again, I just think that like and it's like that one what I think was and I think this might be a very I don't want to say controversial, but I can undertake, but like at the time when the studio looked at it, I can kind of understand why they wanted to push the CGI elements first because like even from the very beginning they wanted to push more like CGI, but the director and the writer and the producers said no, like we want to do practical, so they let them do practical first, and then when they saw the first cut of it, they're like, yeah, we know about this, but I think why they wanted to push for more CGI though is because at the time when you had films like Avatar or like District 9 or like even like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, like at the time when you were having CGI elements that were really like reinventing the VFX house and when they were clutching it very much, I think that was why Universal kind of like, hey, let's push for more CGI. Like this is what people want. Like let's do this. But I think well as and again as a standpoint, I kind of understand that, but here's the problem. But the problem is, and I think this is why it kind of offended a lot of people, is the most notable thing about the John Carpenter's movie is the practical effects. Like that's the one thing that everybody talks about is the practical effects. Like how are you going to do the practical effects or like how great the practical effects are. So when you do that, and then when you say that, oh, like forget all these great effects work that we could do with these practical effects. Let's just go like, I don't mean to say this in a bad way, but let's go like the CGI route, like the more cheaper route, and then we can just do it easier. Like that's kind of like almost like kind of like a disservice to what you're doing to the original because that's why people remember that movie is the practical effects. So when you do the CGI well, it's a kind of like again, you're kind of doing like a disservice to the movie and I just don't think that I just don't think that was the best way to go personally. And it was sad though because you had two great practical effects workers that was Tom Woodruff and Alex Gillis, the guys who did most of all the Alien and Predator movies. And again, when you look back at that footage and when you see some of those behind the scene footage, and it actually, and again, the effects right there actually looked great. Like I don't think at all it looked very bad. Like, I think some of the effects actually looked pretty outstanding. But again, like I said, I mean, and I think that the director too, like wanted to push for like he wanted to not use CGI, but like I said, I mean, but when you're here's the problem though, what people don't understand is when you're like a first time director, especially with Mahias, but this was like his first feature debut. Like he did a lot of commercials like before then, and like when you're like a first time director though like, and when you don't have that crowd, like someone like a Ridley Scott or a James Cameron that can pretty much like do whatever they want, like you don't have that amount of control that you think you do have. You know, like sometimes like you want to push for more practical effects, But like I said, you may not want to do it, but like I said, when you get overruled by like that studio head that just said like, hey, no, we're doing the CGI, so deal with it. So that's kind of what you have to do. Like you have to do though. So that's why I think that like maybe in some weird ways, I don't want to say weird, but maybe in like some in my field that maybe they did thought that like maybe him and like the two producers just thought like, okay, we may not be able to do practical effects anymore, but maybe we can do the best that we can out of CGI. But here's the other problem. When you push it, but here's the other problem. But like when you push the movie back for too much, that doesn't give enough time for the VFX artists to do the best they can. So
Mhm.
that's why they kind of have to like rush through it, and then that's why at the end product doesn't work all that great. So
Mhm.
And
because
like I said,
VFX artists just need more time, but the studio heads just like, nope, you got this date, so you got to finish it in time. So that's why VFX artists don't
Mhm.
really have the time they need to work on over effects properly. But yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
when we have bosses, we have to listen to our bosses.
Yeah.
You know, and when
Or
they
the
Mhm.
one
come
that's
in,
paying you
yeah.
and giving you the.
So we obviously want to rank this film, and usually we rank it on 5 skulls. But since there's a whole film here, and there's all three of us, we're going to rank this out of 10 skulls. So I personally, I would probably give this a 4.5 out of 10
Okay.
personally.
I'm gonna go right. I think it deserves a 6 out of 10. It's a little overpassing. It's still pretty good. Like I like the characters and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's the other thing that brought it up for me was the characters.
Yeah.
Honestly. So what about you, Chappie? What would you rank this out of 10?
I would rank this a 8.9 out of 10 for me. Like I
very
think
Very
it's a
good.
nice.
Yeah.
very, very underrated prequel. Like not one of the best, but I think it does a very good job with
Hmm.
how it's serviceable to the original Carpenter film, I think. So that'll be
Yeah.
my score.
Chappie, so this is your final defense. You're telling somebody that's already seen it or somebody that's never seen this movie before that they should go and rewatch it or watch it for the first time. What are you going to say to them?
Well, I would just say that maybe give it a different viewpoint, like maybe like a second chance though, like another rewatch, or even if you haven't seen a movie, if you're kind of scared to rewatch it just because of some negative press around it, like don't be like, I mean, yeah, just go in expecting like, yeah, the CGI is not that great. It's not terrible, but not very good. But just know that it does a lot of things right, I feel, and I think it's a very, very servable and almost again, like I said, if you take CGI out of it, this would easily be, I think, a perfect companion piece to the original Carpenter film, I feel. So, but that's what I would say to them. So yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
And we do want to remind everybody, we do have Chappie's Instagram down in the description. So make sure you're checking it out and let us know in the comments. What are your opinions on the 2011 thing? If you can, go back and rewatch it. Let us know. Does it hold up a little bit better when you go into it with an open mind, knowing about the CGI and how that is? And if you
Mhm.
haven't already, guys, please like and subscribe. It really helps build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror,
Stay who you are.
and we'll see you
Mhm.
guys soon.
Bye, guys.